The World Cup starts this week. There are ones that we all know, and there are some hidden ones that we will discuss today, like the 21-year-old at Real Madrid, who's created more chances than anyone else in La Liga. The German, who plays for Liverpool, who's never played a World Cup, but was bought for an exorbitant fee. And the Brazilian that was scouted by a very own scout. We've done all the homework, so you don't have to. This is the World Cup Daily by FUT IN Review. Welcome back to FUT IN Review, World Cup Daily. I'm joined today by Nathan, our very own scout. How are you doing, Nathan?
Hey, Shaq. Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. I'm really excited to get into this topic. We all know the ones to watch in terms of the global superstars, which I'm sure we'll probably mention along the way as well. But I find this subject absolutely fascinating. There's lots of players that, if you're a video game fanatic, if you're a FIFA or a football manager sort of person, some of these players will jump out at you. But there's also some ones that, worth highlighting, some that could have a big impact, and whether they're kind of already potential superstars that are there, or whether the ones that we think this could be potentially a breakthrough World Cup for them, or even one just pinnacles for their national team. So I think this is fascinating. I'm really excited to be able to talk over the next sort of 20-25 minutes about this.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that. I mean, before we get started, just want a quick, I know we can talk about the Mbappés, we can talk about the Yamals, we can talk about Vinícius Jr, Jude Bellingham, for example. This could be his World Cup. It could also be Erling Haaland's World Cup. Out of all these people, and the top names that we keep talking about, rather than going into detail of every one of them, who do you think, in your opinion, out of these people, or the ones that you can think of, the very well-known household names, who do you think will have a stellar World Cup and why?
I think that's quite difficult because the climate, we've seen some of the friendlies, you can't read too much into the friendlies, but there's also the heat's taken a factor, the locations, the travelling. Portugal are a lot of people's dark horses, and most people's mind goes to Ronaldo for Portugal. I think you could actually look at 5 or 6 of their players. I think they've got a really good squad. Being the United bias, I think this could be huge for Bruno Fernandes because he's not the big man at Portugal. But he's looking like he's not going to be playing 90 minutes every game. So I think this could be huge for him. Norway as well, you mentioned Haaland. He will carry the hopes because when you look at their squad, they've got a solid squad. They've got the likes of Odegaard, who is made out of he's like a chocolate teapot at the moment. He plays one game and gets injured. Haaland's he intrigues me. Like, he is undoubtedly the best finisher in the world. Him and Kane are probably the 2 best finishers in the world. But the difference is Haaland doesn't make a lot himself. I think this is going to be interesting to see how they service him, and because he's a player at that caliber, they will be looking for him every time. So these are the players, Lamal, yes, he's unreal, but I think Bruno and Haaland have got massive World Cups for different, slightly different reasons. How about you, Shaq? Who have you kind of thought out these superstars?
That's quite true. I think just before you go ahead, just Yamal, I think, is slightly injured as well. So I think this might just not be his tournament, but you never know. He might just peak at the right time and start going on. But I have a feeling, for some reason, I've been backing Norway, and I just feel like this is Erling Haaland's time to shine. I think he needs a tournament like this. I think he does need something big, at least a time where he pulls Norway up to maybe a quarterfinals, even a semi-final, if that, and just plays really well all through the tournament. I think he is, obviously, we know how good he is. He's clearly one of the best strikers of this generation, definitely. But I think if he does that in the World Cup for his country, he goes up in another echelon, and I think he deserves that. And that's why I'm hoping he does really well. I'm hoping Norway does really well. And that's my take. And I think it's simple. Even if you look at the small little thing like the Nike ad, it's almost everyone does their own thing, and then Haaland comes along. It's almost like this is it. He has to do something. This is his time to shine. And who knows? Norway may not be at the World Cup again. So yeah, fingers crossed he does what he has to do.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think it's fascinating to see how it plays out, and if he can pull them through to quarters or semis, I think you're right. His stock's already high, but you've already seen links to big clubs like Real Madrid, to the new president, and wants to sign him and stuff. So I think he would bring that other tier. It's a bit like if England win, guaranteed Declan Rice will probably be up there for Ballon d'Or. If Portugal win, I'd imagine Bruno will be up there for Ballon d'Or. There's all these different caveats to it. So yeah, again, it's a lot to get your head around, but it's really exciting.
Absolutely. And this is what I love recording with you, because in there you have a subtle dig about him moving to a big club when he's already I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I've got to get my personal digs in now and then.
That's so good. That's so good. All right. Well, we've got a whole list of some hidden gems, listener. And I think what we'll do, Nathan, is we'll just go through a couple of our hidden gems and we'll go one by one. So who'd you got as a first hidden gem? Well, it doesn't have to be necessarily hidden, and they could be hidden for our own reasons that we can explain. So let's give the listener a few people that we want to just shout out for today.
Cool. So my first one, we mentioned him on pod number 1. I'm a very big fan. I think that this guy's got a huge part to play, and I think he's actually going to be one of those that could be that's the Leo Messi successor. Nico Paz. I think he is an absolute talent. He's at Como just now. He's had an excellent season in Como. I think, did he get Como into the Champions League? I think it is. It's got them into Europe anyway. He was at Real Madrid for years when he was younger. He then went to Como. Real Madrid have a buyback clause on him, and I think they've been trying to get that activated. But he's playing under not Fàbregas. Who's he playing? It's Fàbregas.
Yeah, Fàbregas, yeah, Fàbregas.
He's playing under Fàbregas at Como, and he seems to be loving life. He's left-footed. He's got that agile sort of ability of Messi to drift past people, but his passing, oh my word, his vision is unreal. So I'm a massive fan of him. He can play centre mid, he can play up top, but he's best in that number 10 position. I think he's one of these that has the potential to set this World Cup alight.
Oh, that's a really good shout. That is really, fingers crossed that actually does happen. And I think you've got a special affiliation as well with Nico Paz, so I'm hoping that, it actually shines. And for me, my first take is I'll have to go with, look, it's a very obvious one, but the kind of season he's had, and in that Madrid squad, he's the most creative player that I think Madrid found this season, and he's played really well this year. And I think if you remember, even the Euros last time around, he played amazingly well. And there was a game that he scored multiple goals, and there was a finesse shot from outside the box, and we knew that this kid was special. But for whatever reason, the following season he didn't have a great time. But leading up to the World Cup, he's just come right into form. He's played really well this year. He scored, I think, quite a few assists and goals this year as well. And I'm just really hoping that this the only drawback to him having a good tournament is the fact that he's in the same group as Australia. That's the only thing I'm not looking forward to. And the first game is against Australia. That's the only thing. I just hope he's not good in that game. But the rest of the games, I just want him to shine because this kid is special. He was a lot of fun to watch. Did you enjoy watching him in the Euros?
Yeah, I think he's an excellent player. My one thing is in the Euros, Turkey were everybody's dark horses. They were getting built up to be amazing. And then I remember seeing a tweet going around at the time, and it was just like, whoever recommended Turkey must have been drunk. I mean, they were shocking, but he was the bright spark there. You're right, he's had an excellent season. I think he's played 50, he's made 51 appearances. It's 33 in the league, but he's not played many full games. I think it's about 22, the equivalent of 22 full games. But all in all, he's got 14 assists and 6 goals, which isn't bad when he's still kind of at a young age. I think he's early 20s, isn't he? He is 21. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I think he's exciting. He can play wide. He can play sort of centre attack in mid as well. He's got pace. He's got flair. He's got agility. He can drift in. He can go outside. He can use both feet. I think it's another one that, unfortunately, though, I think because of Turkey being quite unpredictable, I think he might be the standout in that team. But it depends which Turkey turns up, because they've got a solid squad and they'll be very combative. They'll be, well, I was going to say they'll be high energy, but it depends how they get affected by the thing. But Turkey's obviously quite a hot nation anyway, so they maybe will be better stood than a lot of the other European teams. So I think a lot of it does depend on the team around him. But I think he could be the standout for them, and he could be the standout in their group potentially as well.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And I'm really hoping, I just want all these young guys, the Haalands of the world even, just have a great World Cup. I just want to see some good football and these guys to play the best that they can play. That's it, because we know they're capable. So who else do you have for us, Nathan?
So my second one, we've spoken about Haaland for Norway, but it's one of his compatriots as well. So Antonio Nusa, he's a 21-year-old winger, but the term flying winger was pretty much designed for him. This guy is rapid. He is unreal. He's like an inverted left winger, so he's right-footed. I think he can go down the outside, but he does favour his right foot and cutting in. He's at Leipzig just now. I think this guy he's phenomenal. He's got a lot of big clubs sticking around him. He's recently joined Leipzig from Club Brugge. His stock's just going up and up and up at the moment. So I'm quite excited because I think with his pace and his flair and his trickery wing play, I think he's the key for Erling Haaland to have a special World Cup as well. I think if these two combine really well, coupled with Odegaard in behind, if he can stay fit, I think this is one that, at the moment they reckon his value is around 30-ish million in terms of market value, but obviously that'll go up if clubs want to bid for him. I think you could see him absolute take off if he fulfills even a fraction of his potential at this World Cup.
Oh, look, I mean, I think Haaland needs these kind of players. He needs one of this guy. He needs Odegaard. And I think this is why Norway is a team that I've slightly, I feel like they're slight underdogs because they do have a lot of good talent on show. And I think I'm hoping Nusa, again, another young one. It's a theme that we're picking. We're picking all young players because I think it seems like it's their time to shine. And I'm really hoping that, Nusa, like Haaland, who knows if he can have another go at the World Cup. So fingers crossed he does something there. The other one for me... Sorry, go on.
So I was going to say the caveat is the pitch. We've seen a few of the pitches, and we spoke about it last week about how it might take a bit of time for the pitches to knit together. They're not in amazing shape. Nusa likes to travel at pace and with the ball. I think if the pitches aren't great, that's where we can maybe see him struggle a little bit because it doesn't quite feed into his game. He is pure pace and trickery with the ball. So I think if the pitches are dodgy, they take away a little bit of his game. But then it might come into Haaland's game because he doesn't run with the ball. He's a finisher. They might adapt a slightly different approach. The balls might be coming into him a little bit earlier, and then you can see him shine. So it's all hand in hand. And I think there'll be a theme with these players that a lot of them have fantastic ceilings, but they need the team around them to help them as well.
Exactly. And this is what we need. This is what football's a team sport. We can't really judge a player's outcome based on just his outcome because the rest of the team has to do the things that they have to do for him to shine as well, whoever he is. So, the fingers crossed that these teams like this is why we're picking certain teams as well because there's no point of picking a random team with, like, for example, someone in Curaçao might have a really amazing time, but who knows the rest. I'm just picking Curaçao as an example.
Tahith
Chong, yes, our very own. And he's the only Curaçao player that was actually born in Curaçao.
Yeah, the rest are Dutch.
Yeah, that was an interesting stat. Yeah, that's. I want to share my next one with you, and I'm hoping that you have some input on this particular guy. And I didn't know till I did some research that Jan Diamonde. Because the reason I'm mentioning him, again, listener, I'm just showing my allegiances here. He was linked with Man United recently, and I thought, I just wonder what he's about. He's a 19-year-old guy, plays for Leipzig, had 20 goal contributions in 33 matches for Leipzig, and Bundesliga Rookie of the Year. He's got very minimal experience, and he's only played for Ivory Coast for less than a year. But at the World Cup, I think I'm really getting excited about this Ivorian team as well because they have some really good talent. They've got Kessie, I think, who's the captain. They've got Diallo, who every Man United fan in the world wants him to do well, and he's an exceptional talent as well. And I think if you mention, we'll get to Diallo, but with Diamonde, I think he really has something special. He's got electric pace like that Nusa. I think he's equally as fast as Nusa. And at 19, this is again could be a tournament for him as well. And I'm really, really hoping that he has a great time. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Diamonde is, his name kind of refers to. He's a bit of a diamond. He's electric like Nusa, but I think Diamande's dribbling is next level. I really like Diamonde. He's in talks with a team in England, which I'm not a big fan of. It looks like he's going for a big money move. It looks like, for all intents and purposes, he's going to join Liverpool. And there's a good chance that he's going to be Salah's replacement. Different profile of player to Salah, but one that I think will be suited to that. And I think this guy's special. I think that he's got everything to kind of go to the elite level. The only thing is, I don't think his actual output is as good as his build-up play. So I would really think that he could kind of elevate his stock, though. I mean, people are talking about him now, and I think this is the sort of typical player where they're in talks and big teams want them. The selling club have all the power because they're like, well, no, we'll hold him because we think he's going to have a wonderful tournament, then all of a sudden his stock goes even higher. I mean, current rating at the moment is market value is £90 million, and that for a 19-year-old. A 19-year-old from Ivory Coast is absolutely crazy. So he's, to be fair, his output's been pretty good. So all in all, he's got 10 assists and 13 goals in 36 games for Leipzig this year, which I think is phenomenal because Leipzig haven't had the best season in the world. So that shows you how special this kid is. He's strong, he's fast, he's powerful, he's dynamic, he's direct, he's very direct. I wasn't even aware that his actual output, I thought he was the sort of player that creates chances but weren't taken, but I was wrong there. He can play on either flank as well. He's right-footed, but he can use his left. I think, again, it's like some of these flying wingers, we talked about Güler, we've talked about Nusa. Like, they're all similar ilk. And again, he could be in for a cracking World Cup. And if he can hit the ground running, then he's going to be one it's going to be really hard to stop.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm hoping against hope that he has a good season. A good World Cup after the season that he's just had. And this is just elevates. I think one of the things we see about wingers is they just really come up with a brilliant season and they could just go on and have a wonderful World Cup. And that's just because they don't have any fear when they're young. So they don't have any expectations. There's nothing. They're just fresh. So you never know. Hopefully he has a great tournament. Who was your next one, Nate?
So the next one I've picked out is one that's quite close to my heart. I think this player has the potential to. So he's not unknown because Premier League fans will know him. Brazilian fans are shocked. He played a friendly. I think it was Friday or Saturday for them, and they were shocked with just how cracking this player is. He's a striker. He's only 24. Igor Thiago plays for Brentford. He's a pressing machine. He's a finisher. He's dynamic. He's alive in the box. He can link up well. Honestly, this guy is the complete striker. He came on. I think he came off the bench in the first friendly, and he scored. He's 1.9 meters. He's just, honestly, I can't tell you how good he is. And from what I hear, he's just a fantastic person as well. The people around the club say that he's got a great attitude. He's really happy. He's really friendly. He takes times with everybody, and he's 24, but he acts like he's a cultured, experienced player. He's just tremendous. So, although I'm a bit biased because he plays for Brentford, I actually think that I've got Brazil to kind of go fairly deep, sort of quarter semis into the tournament. One thing Brazil have been lacking for a number of years is a true number 9. They've played with, sort of number 10s as number 9s. They've played with wingers in the striker position. I think that if he has a good tournament, Brazil will have a good tournament, because I think having that focal point when you've got all these flair players around you is like vital. They've got somebody that's going to hold the middle. He'll finish the chances. And when you look at the Brazil's sort of attacking sides, you've got Vini, you've got the Ryan, who I'm a big fan. You've got Cunha. Neymar's back in the fold, albeit will he have a good World Cup? He was one that I actually was going to put into the ones to watch because it's going to be very interesting to see if he has a good World Cup or if he doesn't. Attacking wise, they're unreal, but having an actual goal scorer like Neymar's, he's in the top 5 or top 7 goal scorers in international football, but he's not the same player. So having this physical beast who can press, who can pass, who can score, I think that this is something that, this could take Brazil to the next level especially under Ancelotti, who, he's got a track record of working very quickly with incredible players. So yeah, I think he's an exciting one to watch.
Absolutely. I think that's a great shot. And I think this is a testament to how good Brentford's scouting system is. So top notch. I mean, if this guy did exactly what he did at one of the top 4 clubs or top 6 clubs, his name would be everywhere. And he had a massive season, and not many people even are going to consider him starting for Brazil. And that's the bonkers thing about this whole thing. So yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Wasn't he just second top scorer?
Yeah, he scored over 20 goals last season, and people he's been there a couple of years now, but they forget that his first season, I think it was his ACL he done. He had a really nasty injury, so he missed most of that season. So this is his first real run at it. And then obviously for Brentford, they lost Wisser and Mbeumo, and they kind of thought, oh no, we're going to struggle, but he's been tremendous. He really has. And like I say, it's nice when you hear reports back that he's actually a decent human being as well. That always makes me like people a bit more if they're nice people. Excuse me, but I remember when I've been to the training a few years back, and there was when like Neil Maupay was there, and he was hilarious, and Thomas Frank was there, and he'd come over and shake your hand, and he had sat and had breakfast with us and stuff. Like it's a nice club to be at. I think you've got to be a nice person to be there anyway, but I genuinely think that Thiago could be tremendous, and I wouldn't be surprised. Knowing Brentford's model, they like to buy players, develop them. I wouldn't say they like to sell them on, but they've got a habit of buying players and then selling them on. It is the model. It's this sustainable thing. It's a bit like Brighton as well. They're very similar clubs in the way they're set up. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a ridiculous money move if he has a good World Cup.
Yeah. Fingers crossed he goes somewhere in the Premier League and somewhere that wears red. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. Another player that I would like to bring up, and this is for our dear old John that's actually suggested this player. It's Ayase Ueda for Feyenoord for Japan. He plays for Japan. For Feyenoord, the reason I brought up Feyenoord is he scored 26 goals in 40 appearances this year for in the Eredivisie, top scorer. And for Japan, he's the leading scorer with 16 international goals and 39 caps. 8 goals in 9 Asian qualifying appearances this season. And he carries the entire attacking load because I think Mitoma is injured and ruled out. So he's literally got to do it all. And I think one of the key things I want to bring up as well is Japan beat Germany, Spain, England. I think recently they beat Brazil as well. They came back and beat Brazil recently as well. So Japan is really firing on all cylinders. And I think compared to the other ones that we mentioned, this guy is slightly older. He's at 27. I think Thiago's the oldest one we've mentioned so far. This guy's 27, but this is, again, a brilliant opportunity for him to shine. And I think this Japanese team is, we keep saying it, listener, it's probably everyone is just thinking of this team. This could be either an amazing story or this could be Turkey of 2022. One of the two. I don't know. Which way do you think?
Yeah, I've been really impressed. I mean, I can't say I know an awful lot about Ueda, but I've watched Japan a number of times recently. I think Japan will have a good World Cup, and if he is the focal point and he's got that, then yes, he could be one to watch. I mean, what strikes me for Japan is they're all now so athletic. They're not the tallest team in the world, but they're all really strong. They've all got really good dynamism. They're all really disciplined, but they're electric. Like, they just run. I mean, if you were saying Japan, my mind automatically goes to Kairi Mitoma, who I also think is unreal. I think Mitoma's phenomenal, and he started to show that again at the back end of the season. So every one of these Japanese players don't look out of place anywhere. I think they're just top notch. So he does play for about the 6th best team in Holland. That's the only thing. Who have just sacked their manager, I believe, which is heartbreaking for me. They've gone down in my estimations getting rid of Van Persie. But no, I think Japan are a fun team to watch. I think they will surprise people because they just seem to be unreal. And if John's highlighting him as one to watch, I'm quite intrigued to see how and what they do.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Oh, well, I'm really excited to watch Japan, but him especially now that I've done a little bit of digging on him. Is there anyone else you would like to mention quickly? Any other quick players, quick hits?
There's one that we've kind of, it's probably a good one to end on that you highlighted in the opening one. He's one that came to the Premier League who I was actually, as a United fan, I was quite terrified of. I thought he was going to hit the ground running. He'd had such a good season before. He came when Liverpool seemed to spend half the money in the entire world on a team and still finished pretty slowly. But yeah, I think that Florian Wirtz is one to watch, and maybe not for he's one to watch because he's going to have an amazing World Cup. Because, in all honesty, from what I've seen, he was really disappointing in the Premier League, and that's not with any hint of bias from being a United fan. I generally think that he was a bit lightweight. I think his passing was still pretty good, but he didn't do an awful lot else from what I expected. Somebody that cost, what is it, 100, 150 billion, whatever it was. Like, I expected a lot more, and I always go back to price tag isn't him. Like, the price tag is what he's worth to the club, you know. So I'm not believing your price tag makes you a great player or makes you a crap player. But he's got to have a big World Cup because Germany. I think Germany kind of need him to have a good one for them to have any opportunity. He needs to come up with the assists because, as an out and out striker, have they got incredible? I think they play Havertz as their main striker, don't they?
Yeah.
Who isn't an unreal striker. So I think he needs to come up with the goods this time. Otherwise, there will be big questions asked about the last 12 months of his career.
Yeah, I think. Thank you again. I love podcasting with you because you seem to find a way to dig me out of a hole. I completely forgot about Florian Wirtz, and thanks for that. But the one thing I just want to talk about Florian Wirtz is the fact that when you saw him last season playing in Europe in the Champions League, he was incredible. Like, he was really like the words that you would think of. But when he played in the Premier League, but also we've seen a lot of times people come from other leagues and it takes them a while to settle in the Premier League. So that could be a settlement period. And also the kind of football that he was probably used to in playing in Germany. It's really hard to dictate that in the Premier League as well. So I think it'll come in time. And after missing the last World Cup through injury, this is his time to shine. And I really think after the year he's had, he's probably really keen to set the record straight and have a really good tournament. And him and Musiala would just have a great tournament together if they just just play as well as they can play. And it'd be really interesting.
That was a good point as well about the type of football that Liverpool played, because Slot, although he won League 2 years ago, his football wasn't good to watch. It wasn't, and it wasn't what you'd kind of link with, the Jurgen Klopp style heavy metal football. And I think, to be fair, Androni Iraola will bring a lot of that back. So it might be a system issue, but his physicality isn't up there. I think he's got all the attributes. If you tick off on paper, maybe his strength's a little bit lower than you'd like, but in terms of maybe a free roaming cam, he's got everything that you'd want. So, for the person himself, I actually quite liked him when he was at Leipzig. Leipzig he came from, wasn't it? I really liked him before he joined Liverpool. I'm sure he's going to be one of these players eventually that Leverkusen he was, wasn't he? It was Leipzig. He was Leverkusen he came from. Be one of these players that I'm like, I don't like Liverpool, but I like X player, Y player. They've had a few, Darwin Núñez used to be one that I absolutely love watching because he had no idea what he was doing himself. So how did the defenders know what he's going to do? Do you know what I mean? I just think there's always a few players and teams you don't like that you're like, no, I can really appreciate, like De Bruyne at City, Haaland at City now, Bernardo Silva. So there's always these players, and I want him to do well. I think he seems a really likable person. I just think that he has underperformed, as do many people coming from the Bundesliga into the Premier League. There's not many people that hit the ground running from that league, so that could be a factor.
Yeah, absolutely. Fingers crossed. Let's just see what happens. There's only a couple more people I just quickly will give a shout out to. Kendry Paz, 19-year-old Chelsea signing, the youngest scorer in Common Ball World Cup qualifying history. So fingers crossed he has a great World Cup. Any quick thoughts on him? Do you know the guy at all? I've just randomly stumbled upon this guy.
No, he's one that I've not heard. Again, he's a Football Manager player rather than actually knowing him. So I'm always intrigued when the Football Manager player kind of how they do in real life, because sometimes you're just like, oh, I told you he was going to be good. And other times you're like, nah, they've got it all wrong. So I don't know a lot about him, but he's certainly one that is on all the sort of young player list to watch.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Let's see how he does. The other one that I'll quickly mention just for Redley allegiances, Amad Diallo. What a player. I really hope he has a tournament of dreams. And let's see what happens with him.
Yeah, Ahmed had a frustrating season. Season before last, he was actually unreal. Last season, especially when Carrick came in, he had a bit more attacking license and he looked a bit devoid of confidence, I think, was the main thing. But then his confidence should be sky high because they just played it wasn't a full strength France team, but it was a good France team, and he scored the winner, and I think it was the 84th minute, and it was an incredible team goal. It was a really nice goal. So if you guys get a chance, go back and watch that. I think it won 2-1. It was just a lovely move, and it wasn't the best finish in the world, but it was just everything about it was precision, like the through ball, the run, the cutback, the finish. I think it was just wonderful. So I hope he has a good World Cup. He is one of my absolute favourite players. I think he has potential. I think to go on, he's got everything that you'd want from a winger, or even a cam. Eventually, I could see him drifting inside a wee bit. So, yeah, I hope that he has a great World Cup. I hope he doesn't get injured. I hope that they don't win it, because it'd be nice for him to get a rest and come back for next season fully refreshed. But no, he's very exciting. I think he's one that could get you off your seats if you were watching.
Yeah, Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Well, that's the episode. Your watch list is set, and the World Cup starts soon. Before you go, follow us on Instagram, Foot and Review, and TikTok, Foot and Review Podcast. 5-star review on your podcast app would take 10 seconds, but it would mean the world to us. Share this episode to anyone that's getting into the World Cup spirit. Just share this. Send it to your friend, anyone that you would like for them to listen to us. And Patreon supporters, just a reminder, this episode will be out soon, and the Predictor League and sweeps are available in the Discord, so jump on in. And episode 9 drops tomorrow. Apparently, the title of the episode, it says, "It's Coming Hame." I don't know what that means, but our Scottish friends will explain that tomorrow. Catch ya.